I guess the biggest challenge which marketers and agencies have to get their heads around today is that this is not a push world, this is a pull world. And it's about how do you engage people? It's about how do you make people want to be part of your brand? So still we're successful in terms of selling a product to somebody, and we see it as the end of the funnel. We see it as the success achieved. But really for the customer, that's the beginning. I'm going to use this product now to do something more with. I've got my new Mac. I want to create a great book. I've got my new DIY equipment. I'm going to build a new house. It's about helping the customer to do something more with those products and services. A brand is an idea. It's a concept which lives in people's minds. And, you don't have any control over that anyway as a marketer or as an agency. It's what the customer thinks it is. And, if you look at some of the greatest brands, be it Google or be it Billabong today, constantly they are reinterpreting how they express themselves. The ability to get a strong concept, an inspiring concept, a compelling concept, which people want to pass on, is the best possible way in which you can create a coherent, big, concrete vision, which is your concept, which in a sense you can never own, but you can benefit from. I think one of the big challenges is that clients cannot outsource their creativity today. And you cannot outsource to your agency come up with the good ideas. In the same way as you cannot outsource new product development to somebody, or you would not outsource, the managing of the finances of the customer service of your business. It's thinking about, what do you have to own and what do you have to do? And it's about bringing your agency to be part of actually collectively with lots of others to think about how can I break some of these rules? How can I create a future which is braver and bolder? And the biggest reason why creativity does not succeed is when people inside the organizations are not engaged in it. So make the CEO, make the finance director, make the people who are going to be part of making this happen at all different levels, be part of that creative process. You will never get newness by asking things based on the old frame by which you were thinking from. So you cannot get great new insights from consumers by asking existing questions. So, market research needs to be much more anthropological. In the same way as you can't evaluate ideas when you close down using the existing criteria of success. So you need to think about broader criteria of success in order to incorporate wild and wonderful ideas which normally wouldn't fit through the traditional business system. Who's the leader? I think the client has to be the leader. They have to ask the right questions. They don't have the answers, but they do have to ask the right questions. And they do have to create the space for strategic thinking, creative thinking, and new thinking in the organization and where the brand and where its communication is going. Some of that comes from consumers, but consumers don't know everything. And some of that comes from completely different places, diverse, interesting kinds of companies, kinds of individuals. And some of it comes from pure creativity, which comes with specialist agencies. So I do not think that the ad agencies can lead today. I do not think that any type of agency can lead today. I think it's about working together, and I think it's about bringing together all of the different players in the communication world to think about, well, how can we help the client to do something remarkable? I think ultimately, if you look at Apple, is it Steve Jobs who changed the world? Is it Jonathan Ive who changed the world? Is it Lee Clow who changed the world? Who changed the world? I don't think it's the advertising guy. I think advertising guys can be incredibly provocative and creative, and they can make people think incredibly differently. But ultimately, the people who have to take the risks are the people who actually own and run the businesses. And they are the people who will change the world. You as an agency, you can give tremendous advice. You can come up with groundbreaking, earth-shattering, incredibly creative solutions. But it's about fusing that together with the product and service which you're trying to sell, with the business model, engaging the whole company behind it, engaging the distributors in order to make it successful in terms of financial results and something which the customer loves. Clients need shaking up, clients need provoking, client needs inspiring, but ultimately they themselves have to take the risks. And the heroes of business today are people like Tony Fernandez at AirAsia, or Tony Heisch at Zappos, the shoe company, or Li and Feng, the two guys who created the fantastic Hong Kong outsourcing virtual supply chain, which now makes about 40% of the world's apparel. These are the companies which are really changing the markets and are creating the new brands and are inspiring the customers and enabling them to have a better life. Advertising is like making a movie. And I really do think that the marketing directors of today are the Steven Spielbergs of today. And it's about not just thinking about the communication, the ad, about how that's a movie, but it's about thinking how the whole story of your brand is a movie. It's about thinking about how do you stir emotions in people. It's about moving people from one way of thinking to another way of thinking. It's about enabling people to see another perspective on their lives through the products and services which you sell and the things which those products and services enable them to do, which they couldn't do before. But if you think about making a movie, Steven Spielberg has hundreds of people around him in order to help achieve that. And he has some fantastic script writers. He has some fantastic costume designers. He has some fantastic scenery makers. And these are the agencies, people, on different perspectives. Yes, they all bring fantastically creative ideas, every one of them. But each individual creative idea is a contributor to the whole. The biggest shift is the power of the customer. The customer is intelligent, the customer is informed, the customer is in control. Does the customer trust brands? Probably not. The customer trusts other people like him or her to tell him what to recommend ideas and the best products and services to them. Does the customer want to be interrupted in their lives today? Probably not. Does the customer want to be inspired about new ideas? Probably yes. But on their terms. I don't necessarily think that many people see the vision as to where it's going because they all have too many vested little interests. And do digital agencies have the best ideas? No, because they have a vested interest. Do ad agencies in the traditional form have the best ideas? Probably not. But the world does not live online, and the world does not live in mass markets anymore. It's the fusion of these different perspectives which will be important, and they will create something which I, as a customer, really want to get engaged with. The point is, it's about understanding the customer in the customer's context. It's not about pushing products. It's not about pushing your messages. It's not about these great antique things called campaigns, which we decide we're going to sell something because we've got a sales target to achieve and we're going to push it at everybody. It's about doing things on customers' terms and enabling them to buy things when they want to. Big killer crunch question. Is there a future for advertising agencies? No. Not in the way in which we think about advertising and not in the way in which we think about agencies. So ad agencies in the traditional sense, no future if you keep doing what you do.